Microsoft is planning to close the Xbox Activision acquisition, even if CMA's decision to block this deal in UK doesn't change. Let's look into this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've got some cool updates on Xbox Activision deal in UK. So I'm sure you know that Microsoft is going through appeal process right now, trying to fight the CMA's decision to block this deal in UK. And only in UK, but because of the fact that Activision Blizzard is present as a business in UK, that actually blocks the whole deal globally, right? So Microsoft obviously is hoping for that appeal to be successful, and hopefully, CMA either change their decision or the tribunal could potentially overrule that decision and change that decision, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I think the final hearing, so final decision, should be made by end of July, I want to say, or July, I think. It's going to be very interesting 2 months for sure. But in the meantime, Microsoft is investigating what they would have to do to still close the deal, even if CMA's decision to block this deal in UK would not be changed, right? I mean, that's a possibility, right? So there's an interesting thread on Reset Era, and there's a big update there, obviously, from MaDz, I think that's how I should pronounce it. But the original source of this information is MaDz, and they deal with that kind of like legal kind of stuff. So let me read this out to you and comment in the meantime. So first off, Microsoft executives are actively looking at ways to close the acquisition despite a UK veto on the deal. MaDz has learned. The CMA currently has an interim order in place preventing Microsoft from acquiring an interest in Activision or any of their subsidiaries. It is likely to make that permanent very soon. The surprise speed of the CAT tribunal, so Competition Appeal Tribunal, appeal process may dampen any calls within the company for it to close the deal regardless of the UK block. So let me pause for a minute. So basically looks like even before Microsoft filed for that appeal, they were getting ready to close this deal despite the block, because they were fully aware that that block may not be overturned, right? I mean, changed basically. But because of the fact that hearing that went on a couple of days ago, must have been Monday or Tuesday, I can't remember, and the fact that the tribunal judge was really keen to cooperate with Microsoft and kind of like close this deal as soon as possible. So it looks like they will not be pushing for any major revolution, if you know what I mean, when it comes to any actions against this deal in UK, against the block in UK, and they will just wait and see what happens, right? But in the meantime, of course, they are getting ready, just in case if that decision doesn't change, right? So this is what they say. I mean, the Microsoft, kind of people. Our priority is pursuing the appeal process in the UK and we remain committed to constructive dialogue and solutions to address regulatory concerns, a Microsoft spokesperson said today. Microsoft has hired extra lawyers and has tasked some with examining how it could close the Activision deal, MaDz understands, which makes sense because they have to get ready for every single possible scenario, I guess, right? And Microsoft, of course, is very determined to close this deal regardless of that decision. I mean, it would really be, I don't really want to say unfair, but it would be really a tough cookie to swallow if a deal like that was to be blocked only by one country, while the rest of the world doesn't have any problem with that, right? I mean, that sounds silly, basically. So let's talk about these options. One option could include Activision exiting the UK for another European country in a bid to remove itself from CMA's jurisdiction. Its games could continue to be sold via distributor. One rub is that any such decision must be taken by Activision to avoid breaching merger laws that stipulate that merging companies must be managed separately and independently until they actually close. So I've heard that before, but the problem with that decision would be, I mean, it's possible, I guess, but remember, I think, and I'm not a lawyer, but that's the way I read it. I mean, exiting UK, so Activision would have to exit the UK market. So the question is, what would happen with all the employees employed by Activision Blizzard King in UK? And apparently there's a lot of people working for Activision Blizzard in UK. I don't have any numbers, but that's really the case. So, would they be transferred somewhere else? I mean, they've got plans, they've got families. So, that would be a tough cookie to swallow. I mean, would they consider basically letting these people go? That's a possibility, but that's why that CMA block may really complicate things. Not even necessarily for Microsoft per se, but for Activision employees, right? So that's one of the options. Another option could see Microsoft extend remedies given to and accepted by the European Commission to the UK unilaterally, even though they were rejected and insufficient by the CMA. I don't really understand how would that change, really, because I mean, I understand that they could do that if the appeal were to be successful, the appeal to tribunal, and the CMA had to reprocess the whole deal again. Yes, then Microsoft could actually talk with CMA and offer some additional remedies and stuff. But I don't think they can do that without CMA. I mean, what's the point of offering additional remedies if you don't really talk with the regulator anymore, right? So I don't really understand what that's all about, because that was supposed to be an option if CMA still blocked the deal, right? So I don't know, but hey, that's apparently is a second option. So the third one is the company is also actively contesting the CMA's draft order that would give effect to its veto, banning Microsoft from acquiring an interest in Activision for several years and vice versa. The ability of the UK watchdog to impose a global ban solely to address concerns relating to the UK market is at the center of that. MLX understands Microsoft would challenge the final order in court to seek to narrow its scope to potentially allow it to close elsewhere in the world. Alternatively, so I guess that's the fourth option, Microsoft could seek to close the transaction and argue that the order was illegal in its defense when sued by the CMA. So I guess that would be like a legal battle against CMA basically in courts. So that has nothing to do, I think, with a tribunal, right? Because the thing is, CMA imposed that block, right? Now, Microsoft cannot really do anything, cannot close the deal. I mean, if they did, then CMA can say, okay, guys, we didn't allow this to be closed and you did it. So now we go to court. So you will have to, I guess, right? That must be the way it is. because at the end of the day, I guess it's a court that would have to, I guess, made the final decision. But yeah, it's pretty complicated, to be honest with you, because I know that CMA did make a couple of very interesting decisions there, basically blocking Microsoft from acquiring Activision like in some other way. So yes. Yeah, you know what? Because like there was a lot of talk about the fact that maybe Microsoft could just sell some products in UK and while not other products, and so I'm not really sure how that would work. But also they say here, in mid-May, a reporter for CNBC asked Microsoft chief executive Satya Nadella, so head of Microsoft literally, whether the company could close the deal and just stop selling Activision products in UK. The CEO responded, "Let's wait for it all to play out." Asked by MLX on May 12 whether it could close around the UK, a representative of Microsoft said it was a complicated question, but at some point we may need to think about it. A spokesperson from Microsoft advised against reading too much into the comments. So it sounds like Microsoft is ready to close this no matter what. So the next 6 weeks until July 18th, the outside date in the merger agreement, could be a lot of fun. Which is interesting because, that outside date in merger agreement is very also important. That's why Microsoft is in a rush to close this deal, because if they don't close this deal until that date, I think they have to pay up like $3 billion to Activision. So yeah, that would not be fun for Microsoft, obviously. So that's why they are really rushing to close this deal. But I'm just wondering now also, because that outside date in the merger agreement is July 18th, while the Competition Appeal Tribunal trial is going to take place around 24th of July. So that's after that date, after that merger date, right, in agreement. So I mean, I'm not sure how that would actually play out. So, I mean, is there going to be an extension or what? I don't know. Either way, some cool updates. Let's just hope that appeal Microsoft is actually dealing with right now is just going to be successful, and they will just, close the deal, close the acquisition. Everyone is going to be happy, obviously with some concessions, and that's fine. Because like I said, I think the most likely scenario with Activision like exiting UK market, that would not be good for Activision employees. Like I said, I don't have any numbers on how many people they employ in UK, but probably a lot. And on top of that, UK market is actually quite important for Microsoft too, because it's not only about doing business there, but also they've got internal studios there, right? Like Ninja Theory, Playground Games, and probably some others. Compulsion Games, isn't that from UK too? I'm not really sure. But anyway, so guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.